Hey YouTube, Joeboy here. So, today let's talk about just how many chapters are left in One Piece. Of course, nobody knows the answer to this question, so this will be a prediction related video. Be sure to share your thoughts in the comments as to what you think it will break down to be, how many chapters you think it is. But I thought it was a good time to bring it up because in a recent interview, Oda discussed that One Piece is 80% complete. And so a lot of people freaked out when they heard this. They took this a lot further than I think that it needed to go or that it should be taken. This is of course not going to be a precisely accurate number. We don't even know exactly what 80% means. It could mean 80% of the chapters are complete, or it could mean 80% of the story, irregardless of the numbers of chapters it takes to complete a certain part of the story. And even then, Oda has not written all of the 250 chapters it would take to complete the story, and he's been on record saying, and many other mangaka as well, that they often underestimate how much it takes to complete. But I guess the consensus is, when this information was revealed, is of course not. Of course we're not 80% complete. There are far more chapters than that left, and I tend to agree. If we assume that One Piece is 80% complete in terms of number of chapters, then we should expect One Piece to end at approximately chapter 1150. Which I think, in the first place, doesn't make a whole lot of sense if you've read enough One Piece, because Oda definitely loves to end on century marks. I really do believe that the 80% number that Oda gave us, if it does indeed refer to chapters, is essentially as concise as Oda envisions it to be right now. But even in this same interview, when he discussed the story being 80% complete, they asked him, why is One Piece so long? And he answered, well, the characters are moving without my permission. Essentially, Oda lets the story write itself in some ways. He allows ideas to come to him, allows them to just occur naturally, and allows the story to become more beefy. I don't think that Oda is particularly concerned with the story being concise. He just loves to write it. Certain things occur to him, and then he makes them happen. One Piece has been planned to a certain extent, but there's a lot of maneuverability and room for additions, and Oda, I think, acts on this availability. That's a big reason why One Piece, originally intended to last only 5 years, is now 20 years and counting. So yeah, here's my opinion, guys. I think that as far as Oda has planned and all of the bullet points he intends to cover, as concise as it could possibly be, One Piece is 80% complete. But I believe that as long as Oda's health is good, and in another recent interview he stated that it was, as long as he continues to enjoy writing One Piece, which is, as far as I'm aware, is the case. He has no intentions of stopping. It is his life's goal. It is his every passion. Then I think that One Piece will be a lot longer than that, because Oda will continue to let the characters move around, as he said, without his permission. So when exactly will One Piece end? And of course, again, this is subjective. Will just be my opinion, and most likely I will be wrong. It could be shorter than what I suspect, although I doubt it. It could be longer. Time will tell. But I personally believe that Oda likes ending major arcs on the century mark. It's not always the case, and it isn't always right on the number, but it is usually very, very close. And so I think the absolute shortest the Wano arc could be is 100 chapters. That is the absolute shortest, and for me to speculate that would require me to believe that Oda will do his very best to make it as concise as possible, which I personally just don't believe. So I see Wano being at least 150 chapters, the longest arc in the history of One Piece, and I would not be surprised, as crazy as this sounds, I would not be surprised if it lasts for 200. We are talking about confirmed the Straw Hats fighting 2 Yonko at the very least. So here's my final speculation, guys. I think that the Wano arc and the Reverie arc are tied together, and in many ways, Oda might consider them to be very similar entities. So I think that with the conclusion of the Reverie arc and Wano will occur at about chapter 1100. Now, of course, depending on what happens here would depend on other future arcs. So I'm going to keep this as simple as possible, and I want you guys to understand that there's a lot of room for other arcs to just appear out of nowhere. But as far as we are concerned, there's really two arcs that have been foreshadowed in any way. You have the idea of the island of Emerald City. Some people think that was Greenbit and the Tantata. That's its original form was called the Emerald City. That is possible. I'm not going to bother speculating this because I would like to believe that Greenbit is the Emerald City. It, however, could not be the case. Either way, the other foreshadowed place island that we must absolutely visit is Elbaf. And so if you look at the lengths of most One Piece arcs, especially full, complete arcs, you would have to think that Elbaf would likely be between 50 to 100 chapters. That seems the most likely. Also considering that at this point in time, we don't expect Elbaf to be an epic arc quite the same as the Wano arc is, which seems to be a huge culmination of events. But essentially between the Emerald City, if that is a place that we will actually visit that we have not already visited in Elbaf, I expect the overlying purpose of them as it relates to the end goal of traveling the Grand Line is that one of these places will contain or have information leading them to the location of the final road poneglyph. So I'm just going to say this, that between Emerald City, Elbaf, and the journey to find the last road poneglyph, that will take the story another 100 chapters. And I'll be honest, guys, that's probably a really low ball estimate. I think here, guys, it's most likely that my number will be absurdly low compared to what we get. But having not have the full information on everything that we need to cover and everything that's going to take place in Elbaf and potentially related arcs to find the last road poneglyph, I'm just going to stick with 100 for now. So by the end of that would take us to chapter 1200. And so what do we really know about the rest of the story? Not much, other than that Luffy has to find the One Piece, and that there has to be some sort of grand finale, final war, whatever you want to call it. And so again, we don't know enough here. But if I had to speculate, I would say that from the time that these Strats find the final road poneglyph, I personally believe that they're going to fight Blackbeard. And that will tie into when they find the One Piece and Raftel and all those things. I think that that's going to take about 100 chapters. It's just a guess. But that seems close to being right. If it ends up being a huge battle, it could end up being more than that. But then again, even reading Marineford was only about 40 chapters long. So I think 100 is a good guesstimate. And then from the point in which they find the One Piece, Whitebeard tells us that it's going to cause all sorts of calamity, whatnot. We assume this to be the final battle. I personally assume this to be a confrontation with the Celestial Dragons and the world government directly with recently revealed characters. And so I believe that the lead up from this finding the One Piece to the final battle will be another 100 chapters. Again here, erring on the side of being lower than higher. So in my personal opinion, guys, there's at least 500 chapters left of One Piece. And so everybody's excited, right? JB thinks that there's 500 more chapters of One Piece rather than Oda's guess of 250 approximately. So what does that mean in terms of story time? Well, if Oda continues the habits that he has currently and his health stays up and God willing, he usually pumps out about 38 chapters of One Piece per year. I looked this number up a long time ago. I'll be honest with you, I haven't kept up with that. It could be a little bit more than that. It could be a little less than that. It could be 39, 40. It could be 37, 36. But 38 feels consistent with my memory. So if you have about 38 chapters a year and you have 500 chapters, that would mean that there is probably another 13 years of One Piece left for us, in my opinion. At least. But yeah, that's just my thoughts. I'm curious as to what everybody else thinks on this. Do you think it's lower? Do you think it's higher? How much higher? How much lower? Is this number correct? Can you understand how it could be possible? Just share your thoughts. Like the video if you liked the video, dislike the video if you disliked the video. Make sure to subscribe if you want to be notified for my future content. And as always, guys, have a wonderful day.